Hi, I'm Darren, and I have a story about an episode of The Dick Cavett Show that never made it to air.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to tell you how an Irish-born Louisiana colonel gave away for free a recipe that is now worth more than $50 million per year.
Hi, I'm Adri, and I'm going to tell you a story about balls of opportunity.
What does all this have to do with the word kick? Find out in this week's episode of History Bluffs. Welcome to this week's episode of History Bluffs. It's where truth is stranger than fiction. Now I want to welcome to the show, it's your host, it's Gina!
Hello, hi, hello Orlando and the world. How are you? Hey Adam, how you doing, man?
Hey Gina, thanks for joining us tonight. The show is yours.
Okay, I can do whatever I want. I love this. Thank you.
With my assistance, you may, yes.
Okay, fine. I'll use you if you are okay being used. So, welcome to the show. Adam is playing tonight, and he's going to be used, and I'll use him hard. And then I just wanted to say hello to our other historians tonight. We're going from top to bottom. It's Chris, Adri, and Darren. And Chris, I'm going to start with you and just say, yes, applause are definitely well deserved. You don't even know what they're going to do yet, and y'all are already applauding. I love that. Chris, how was your day? How have you been? I haven't seen you in weeks.
My day was good. I've been good and haven't seen you in weeks, which is no good. So it's good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. I think I always think of every show that we do, like you and I always have a great show together and we have great rapport. Has there ever been a time where you and I performed where you just wanted me to kick me off the stage just to get me out of there?
kick you off the stage? Wow.
We were like, man, I can't believe she did or said that.
No, it's funny. I mean, I've known Gina for almost 18 years now, and I cannot think of a single time, honestly, when I wanted to throw you off the stage or kick you off the stage. No, I can't.
No.
I can't recall.
There have been many times where I've tried to relay to you that I'm going to jump up into your arms or something like that. And I think it usually works. So I love that about our play together.
Yeah. I can think of a time, but you can come back to me later.
Okay. No, Adam, I want to hear now.
All right, fine. All right. It's not necessarily, well, it's fine. It's been 22 years. So our first show back on the improv stage after the September 11th attacks, we did a scene and you, for some reason, started pantomiming and describing concrete falling. It was relevant to the scene. To the scene, it made sense, but the timing was like, Gina, you got to stop right now. So that was not good.
Yep. You should have kicked me off. In fact, I think you guys did. So I feel good about it.
Yep, that was it.
You don't think, I think it's what's in your head, and you don't really think, like, you're not thinking, let's protect the people who just went through this horrible trauma. Like, right. You're just like, what's funny?
Yep, that's all. That's when I wanted to kick you off the stage.
Oh, yeah, so. As you should have. On this other hand, I've had some of my favorite scenes with you as well, so yes. It works out well. Darren, I would like to say hi to you. You and I have known each other for a long time. You don't have to tell me.
Darren. Hey.
More than 18 years, but it's not a contest.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, but yours is bigger. So anyway, no. But so, no, I feel like you and I always get along really well too, and I've never felt this urge to not be. I love being on stage with you or whatever. But is there anything in your life or in our relationship or your life or anything where you're like, kick that to the curb? It's not fun anymore.
This getting old shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kick that right to the curb.
Each day you just have to remind yourself that you're still 5, and then you're okay.
Yeah. Then maybe you'll live to be 100 or not, but that does come up in my story, the concept of living to 100.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Whether you'll live to 100 or not, or the person in the story. Oh, you already know.
Oh, subtle.
Well, I know how the story ends because I wrote it, but yes.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe you had like a new gadget that would keep us from getting to be 100 or getting to 100.
That's what all the tech billionaires think, right? That they're gonna transplant their brain into like an iPhone 50 or something.
Wait, aren't you a tech billionaire? Isn't that what?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
No, I have an iPhone 10 still. 5 years later.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
No,
nothing
no, it still
wrong with
works.
Nothing wrong with it. In fact, you might know something we don't, and not to keep on buying new things.
Yeah.
But nice to see you, Darren. And Adri,
You
I
too.
want to say hello to you. How are you?
Hi. Good. We met when I was like 6.
Yeah.
So
that. Whoa, really?
18 years ago.
Oh yeah, I know, right? 18. I've known you for 18 years as well. You were so
Yeah.
little and
Oh.
cute.
Now look at me.
I know. So what's new? What's going on? Do you like football, the European kind, on the side note?
I do. Actually, my
Yeah,
story
really?
is about football.
Yes. Oh, you even say it right.
Football.
I love
Yeah.
that. Okay.
I'm actually, after the show, going to go watch the women play. They're playing Netherlands tonight in the World Cup. So I'm going to go
Good
check that out.
Oh,
I'm a
cool.
big fan. Big fan.
That's great.
So it was 18 years ago, so you were 6. Did you go to the World Cup when it was here in Orlando? You might not have
I
even been
didn't.
born.
I didn't. No. 18 years ago, I was 14, I think.
Oh yeah, no, it was in
16,
94.
something like
How old
that.
were
It
you?
was 94.
Oh, in 94, I was 9 years old.
Oh, okay. So you could have still gone with it. It was so
Yeah,
much fun.
I could
But
have.
people peed in the street. That's what I found the most interesting.
Well, the World Cup is coming back to the United States in 2026, I think, and I will be peeing in the street. So
Oh, man.
I will be
That's the way to
following around
celebrate
with
it.
because I don't like the way urine smells.
if I'm not on the show, then you know where to find me.
I know in a corner
Being innocent.
alley.
In a
with your
corner
pants
alley or
on.
in jail.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, damn. If you
Well-
go to jail, though, call me. I'll bail you out. Okay.
Excellent.
So
All
that
right.
was just a hello to everybody. I miss everybody, and we are going to now get into the show because this
Let's
is
do
the
it.
most. Let's do it. Okay. So first of all, Adam, if you don't mind, please put up the rules, and then I'm going to tell everybody how it works, and then we're just going to start.
Okay, do we want to bring on our special extra person before or after
Yes,
that?
I almost forgot him, which is going to
No.
make him like. No, I love this because it'll make him even harsher. He is our judge tonight. And so
All right.
he's been waiting in the wings, and I have not introduced him. Everybody say hello to Carlos Rivera.
Hey, there he is.
So you just waiting up there with no AC.
I have been judging you, and I judge harshly. And now that you have made me wait this long, Gina, you
Uh-oh.
are the first one being judged.
Suck it because I can't lose.
My judge, can't you? We'll see how the scores work at the end when I create scores and you have the worst one. Because
Damn
you
it.
will be judged now. I'm
All
usually
right.
here to judge the historians, but now it's
Uh-oh.
Judge and Gina. That's what they should call
Look
this
out.
segment. Judge and
Yeah,
Gina.
Judge and Gina.
Well, we won't know what we're
Right
judging
on.
if we don't know the rules, but you already asked for it, Gina, so
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the rules up. So if you can see the show, here's the rules. If you
And
are
then that was
listening on
risk-
our audio podcast,
Yeah.
Gina will
Yeah.
tell you.
Yes, and it's risky for you to be so brazen, Carlos. It's only the start of the show. Okay, so now the judges or the rules tonight. We do have a judge. He's going to, after each round, kind of tell you the holes that he sees in the story. He, at this point, he doesn't know who is telling the truth or not. And the way the game works, there we have 3 historians, 2 of whom will be telling you a truthful, historically inspired story that is primarily truthful. They might use a little hyperbole, but the bullet points and all of the markers in the story need to be true. Now, there is one person who's going to try to bluff you, and their story will also feel as though it's true, but they might use things that are not historically accurate, or they might make stuff up just to trick you because their story is a bluff. So it's your job as the audience member to figure out who is the bluff, who is not. So much bluffing. There will be 2 telling the truth, 1 bluffing. Carlos is going to try to poke holes in their stories. Those are the rules. If you don't mind, at home, please don't look stuff up on Google and share it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you in the comments, but we don't want to hear whether or not you found whether the story is true, just so that other people can see. So that's it. And this leads me into the very first round of the show. So Adam, that is round 1. Take us away.
Let's do it around 1.
So Carlos, before we begin, is there anything that you would like to say to the players that they should look out for, or that you are looking out for tonight?
No, the players are doing fine so far. Again, I'm judging you right now. And the flaws in which you have antagonized the judge before the show. I may actually focus all of my judgment on you tonight, Gina, which will be something different for the show, but I think fun for everyone involved, except for maybe you.
Do you know? There you go. I think it will be fun. However, I just gave you -1 point. Okay, so
Oh, wow. Okay.
You don't get your points, so I'll give you -2 points.
Oh,
once
he
you
could do
pick
that.
up the
Uh-oh.
yes.
There it
I'm
is.
already losing. This sucks already. Okay, so now we are really going
All right.
into round one.
All
Carlos,
right.
I'm glad we know where you stand.
Boom.
And I'm actually going to go in this order from the top to the bottom.
Oh,
So,
great.
Chris, I would love to start with your story for round one. So, the way it works is you get 75 seconds to tell your story. There's a clock. When you hear the buzzer, you stop. When you hear the boom, you start. And Adam, are we ready?
Oh, you know what? For the folks watching with the visual crowd, I'm going to throw up the Round Tracker 9000.
Oh, that's
There
a
it
good idea.
is.
This lets everybody
is.
know which round we're
It
in
buzzes.
and who's gone. Everybody goes 1 time per round.
That's right. With 3 historians, there's 9 dots. And if you're just listening, you're going to have to listen at home to tune in. And that's it. I think we're ready. So I'm going to bring Chris up, I think it was you said.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Chris
do it.
is in the center. Chris, your time begins at the boom.
Okay. Colonel Monsell White was a gentleman of the Old South, a Louisiana plantation owner, a New Orleans city councilman, and a state senator. Born near Limerick, Ireland in 1783, he died in Louisiana in 1863. Unofficially, he is credited as the true inventor of Tabasco sauce. You know, that little red sauce, that red fluid with a kick. It is undisputed that in 1849, that marked the first recorded crop of Tabasco chilies, the main ingredient of McElhenney Company's world-famous Tabasco pepper sauce. That crop was grown by Colonel White and his Deer Range plantation in Louisiana. The New Orleans Daily Delta newspaper printed that White's pepper patch is 2 acres, all planted with a new species of red pepper, which the colonel introduced into this country called Tabasco red pepper. The colonel attributes the admirable health of everyone on his plantation, the newspaper wrote, to the free use of this pepper. So Colonel White manufactured the first hot sauce from Tabasco chilies and advertised bottles of it for sale in New Orleans in 1859. Tabasco, the company, McElhenney's Tabasco, was not started until 1869. More to come in round 2.
Ooh, that was very, very good. So I would like to point out that part of the story takes place in Limerick, Ireland, and if none of you have one, I do. Keep on, Adri. What would you like to say about Chris's story?
Well, there's no red flags yet. I just want to note I've been to Limerick, and I don't believe that climate would be capable of like growing Tabasco or any kind of chili. So I'm wondering where does he explain like where it comes from or anything like that, like the Tabasco peppers?
Mexico.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions yet.
Ooh, okay. So Tabasco from Mexico. Darren, your thoughts?
Well, Chris, little did you know, since you don't know my history, that I am from New Orleans, and I'm also a hot sauce aficionado, which you might have known.
Yeah.
And also, my story is about organic farming and its health benefits. So you're going to have to be very careful in the next couple segments to not trip me up.
Oh, it's gloves are off.
And also,
gloves are off.
People from Louisiana mostly prefer Crystal hot sauce because it tastes better.
Wow, gauntlet thrown again. This is like New Orleans. Speak up on the comments because we want to hear from you. Carlos, what are your thoughts? Your judgment for their stories?
Let's see. We'll get to you in a second, Gina. My judgment for Chris is that I would have thought Limerick was a made-up place. It sounds silly. And I think you did at some point say crap. The crap they made or something like that.
Crop. I said crop.
You say crop because it sounded like crap.
I heard it too.
I heard crap.
You said crap. There you go. I judge your grammar or your pronunciation, if anything. I'm also in judgment of Darren being a Tabasco chili sauce expert. That I find that to be far-fetched, even though that's not his story. And Gina, you demonstrated bias at the very top by suggesting that you liked Chris's story from Jump, which is unprofessional. So that's another negative 2 points for you.
Ooh.
Oh, well, okay,
So saith the judge.
okay,
All right. So saith the judge.
I would like to
Yeah.
give Adam 4 points right now.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so Adam is winning with 4 points.
Yay.
Carlos is in second place with -2, and I am in last place with -4. And my limerick goes as such:
Oh, no.
plain food was a fiasco. In fact, it had nothing to make your ass go. He mixed peppers in, it burned down your chin, and he named the pepper Tabasco.
There it is.
Adam, you can go ahead and add negative 2 more points.
Oh, is that how that? Okay.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
see,
Okay.
Adri, I'm gonna take 2 points back from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that was made
If
up on the
Adriana
fly.
wants to take your negative 2 points, that's fine with me.
Yes. You're a very nice judge.
Glad I don't have to keep score. Wow.
I don't. You do. We didn't give you the
Negative 2 points for not keeping score, Adam. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
So, all right. So now the next part of our show is going to see what Adri's story is about. So Adri, this is your first round one. Come to the center and start at the boom. Love to hear your story.
Okay. All right. So as I mentioned earlier today, I'm a big fan of women's soccer in general, but soccer altogether. And my story is about U.S. women's national star and 2-time World Cup winner Brandi Chastain. You'll remember her because she ripped her jersey off when she won in the PKs. Following her 2004 retirement, she's had a really big career as a commentator, but there was a small portion of time where she was a youth soccer coach. And in 2010, she moved back to Alma, Texas, which is a small town outside of San Antonio, where she's from, to aid her aging mom and support her in her older years. While she was living there, and her mom's health started to slightly improve, she was offered an opportunity to coach at the local high school. And she really didn't want to do it, but she needed a reason to get out of the house. So she took the opportunity. And what she came into was basically a school that had no funding. It was mostly minority students who mostly didn't speak any English. They had no money for anything like cleats or jerseys or anything like that. So she got some donations and she built a team. Part 2 coming up.
Wait, what was donated to her? People?
No. Like cleats, jerseys, and balls. Like
soccer
soccer
okay.
balls.
Awesome. I love this. Darren, what do you think about that story?
Well, if I know anything about this kind of thing, there would be a sports movie about it already. And I haven't seen that sports movie, so this can't possibly be true.
Girls don't get
but
the
you
same
see-
attention.
Yes, if it was a male who did this story, he would have had a movie 10 years ago. But this is Brandi Chastain.
That's true.
Oh, yep.
This is Brandi Chastain with a wardrobe malfunction. She is
Yes.
she is out. No, just
Yes.
kidding. I love her. P.S. Just wanted to say that. Chris, your thoughts on her or
My
on the
thoughts-
story or on both?
Well, on both. Because first of all, it was not a wardrobe malfunction. She took her shirt off. On purpose. So kudos to her for having the cojones to do that. But 2004 she retired, helped her aging mom. I could relate to that personally. Became a local high school coach. As Darren pointed out, this makes for a great movie. But as Adri rightly pointed out, so far there has not been the same amount of attention paid to women doing this sort of thing. Although there was a Goldie Hawn movie similar where she coached a football team that was an inner city football team with not a lot of stuff available to them, resource wise. This sounds like a great story. So great, in fact, that it could possibly be a bluff based on the Goldie Hawn movie.
Well, and I would point out, I would not put it past Hollywood to cast like Denzel Washington as her.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, he's.
He's box office money.
He's box office.
What are they going for, actually? So, Carlos, you are twiddling your hands in judgment. Please do. We'd like to hear.
Oh.
Oh,
He's giving us the stoic stare. Oh, there he is.
There.
Carlos,
Hello.
you're up to bat. Let's do it.
I was just thinking for a second. No technical issues here.
He left his body.
First of all, I'm wondering if Adri went over her time limit a little bit. I'm a judge of time as well as validity of story. So if she did, that's a warning on time. A flag, if you will, to go with the sports metaphor.
A yellow card.
Like everyone else says, a yellow card. Thank you. Be careful you make it a red card. Gina, you're looking at a red card. I do also think it sounds like a story, like a made-for-TV Coach Carter style story, which makes me think it may not be true because it's just so saccharine sweet. It may be too sweet to be true.
Oh, so Adri.
So I'm skeptical. Judge is skeptical.
The judge is skeptical. So, Adri, with your yellow card, you have actually convinced the judge slightly. So that's where we landed on that one. Darren, it is now your turn to do your story. And so I would like to hear about Dick Cavett and maybe those health benefits you had bragged about earlier.
All right, Dick Cavett comes in a minute, but yes.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, so Jerome Irving Rodale was an early advocate of sustainable agriculture and organic farming in the United States. He's actually credited for popularizing the term organic to mean growing food without pesticides, a term he first used in 1942 when he published a magazine he creatively called Organic Farming and Gardening Magazine. One of Rodale's most successful projects was Prevention Magazine, founded in 1950, which promotes disease prevention rather than trying to cure it later. It pioneered the return to whole grains, unrefined sweets, using less fat in food preparation, folk cures, herbal medicines, and breastfeeding. It also promoted the consumption of higher than typical amounts of nutritional supplements and foregoing things like caffeine and nicotine. Rodale opposed the consumption of milk and sugar, which he blamed for a lot of diseases. But he also had some even more outlandish ideas, and a lot of people said he was a quack. He was an anti-vaxxer. He claimed that black people got less cancer than white people because black people are happier. He said that sugar turned people into criminals. He said, listen to me and you'll live to be 100. And in the next segment, we'll see how that turned out.
Oh, so it sounds like Mr. DeSantis is getting his information from this guy. Okay. So,
Wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised. Chris, your thoughts, please.
Well, Darren, as he tends to do, is a veteran historian on this show. He knows all the tricks and trades of being a good bluff. He came out right out of the gate with some fantastic details. Jerome Irving Rodale talked about him coining the term organic in magazine. I think it was called Organic Farming. He created Prevention Magazine. We all know Prevention Magazine. We've seen it in doctors' offices, etc. And then he lists a whole bunch of other stuff that made me think this guy just should have changed his name to Jerome No Fun. And then he threw out some other stuff, towards the end. So Darren inundated us with so many details that actually causes me to be skeptical.
No reason at all, but Chris is skeptical just by your words.
Perhaps too much truth.
Too much truth.
I can't prevent that.
Adri, would you like to add to this story, or would you like? I guess
the only thing that's coming to my mind is that Darren just described every person who shops at Whole Foods or identifies as a Karen, and that's basically what I'm focusing on right now.
Identifies as a Karen.
But this guy predates them all by 70
He
years.
does. He's the OG of all of that.
He's the OG Karen.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, Carlos, take off your mute and tell us your thoughts.
All right, let's see here. Well, we have, well, first of all, Darren's story, I mean, it has a scent of validity. It's very hard, actually. All three stories are very hard, so I don't know if I can have faith in Darren's story, him being an avowed Tabasco expert. If he can lie about that, he can lie about his story. We have Chris trying to distract you, Gina, but with the word limerick, which sent you on a tangent, trying to distract everyone. Or we have Adri's made for TV, made for the big film story there. I mean, these are all compelling stories which all have possible cracks. I'm going to have to make a double effort to figure out who is the bluff here.
So you're going to do
kudos to
double
all of
back
you.
in the next round.
Oh.
Yes, I'm gonna be double as hard on them, quadruple as hard on you.
Oh, that's okay. That is mean. I mean, but how did I do last round? Good, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
We have Judge. I will refrain. I will watch more before I make judgment.
Oh, well, I
Oh.
You
know.
don't want judgment right now. You want me to watch a little bit more.
Suspenseful.
I know. When you get to the end of round 1, what do you do? That's right. We go to round 2.
Let's go.
Oh, it wasn't a limerick, but we're trying. Okay.
I think we cut. Darren was saying he was reminded of something.
Yes, Darren. What were you reminded of? Do tell.
I was reminded of the terrible, not well received sequel to Al Pacino's Scent of a Woman, which was Scent of Validity.
Oh, jeez. That's wow. You earned that one. You.
Yeah, boo.
No.
All right. Well,
don't make it up.
That leads us into round 2 very uncomfortably. And
That
so
sure
we're going to
does.
switch the order up a little bit. And also in this round, everybody only gets 60 seconds to tell their story. So what we're going to do is
That's getting short.
What's that?
That's getting short.
I mean,
Only a
shorter
minute.
for sure. Yeah, that's what I'm
Shorter.
saying. I would like to go with Darren first in this round. So Darren, you're up
All right.
for 60
right.
seconds whenever the boom starts.
All right, Darren, your boom comes now.
All right. On June 8th, 1971, 72-year-old Jerome Rodale was a guest on the Dick Cavett Show. During his interview, Rodale made boastful claims about his health, including, "I'm in such good health that I fell down a long flight of stairs yesterday and I laughed all the way down. And I've decided to live to be 100. And I've never felt better in my life." And when Cavett asked Rodale how he planned to live so long, Rodale offered to demonstrate with an example of what he considered healthy, disease-preventing food. And that's when Rodale produced a container of organically grown asparagus that he grew on his own farm, asparagus that he had cooked by boiling it in his own urine. He offered it to Cavett, who politely declined, and then they went to commercial break. And I'll tell you the rest of the story after the break.
Well, I call gross. I call BS because you didn't use your last 5 seconds.
That's because I talked too
call
fast.
gross. Yeah, I call gross. Adri, you had some opinions. I saw it on your face.
Yeah, red card for Darren
Oh.
for bringing up urine and asparagus. 2 things that I might add are always linked together. So that's a red
Smell like
flag
each
for
other.
me. Always linked together. So that's a red flag for me. And I don't know if anyone caught it at the beginning of the show. He said the story that I wrote. So that's what I'm sticking with right now.
Oh, so like he didn't research. He took that from his mind.
He wrote it. That's right.
Damn straight. I also would like to have been a person in the audience with that, the Tupperware go, and then
No.
the smell. Chris, thoughts on Darren's story?
It just makes me wonder if he made the asparagus by boiling it in urine. Does that mean that once he ate it and then later on when he goes to urinate, does it smell like asparagus instead of urine? Smell like urine instead of asparagus?
No.
Darren, Darren just, why the whole falling down the stairs thing? That's a little bit of he was trying to throw us off. He's coming up, he's stretching his story with these things that are irrelevant. So I'm
just
remain
telling you what
skeptical.
the guy said in his interview.
That you wrote.
I wrote them down from the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carlos, I feel like we need a person, an unbiased person to inform us of what just went wrong there on Darren's story.
Oh, he's muted. You're muted, my friend.
I mute you, my friend.
Sorry about that. I wanted
That's
to make
all
sure you heard this, Adam. -2 points to you for an appropriate drum roll. Yeah, good. We hear about this Dick Cavett and the Dick Cavett Show. I'm starting to think that's an urban myth, that no such show ever existed. Did it exist? Like, I know Johnny Carson was a thing. I know all the talk shows after a thing. I don't know from Dick Cavett. But at the same time, Darren did finish his story, as you pointed out, Gina, like about 5 seconds early, which again smells of validity. It makes it seem as if he's
It doesn't
telling the
smell of
truth.
asparagus.
No, well, they went over. That's the downside. They both of the other historians already went over the weird coincidence that your character in your story boiled asparagus in urine. Part of me thinks, oh, Darren ate asparagus the other night. His mind subconsciously connected the two, and now he made up a story where he thinks it's random, but it's not.
Let me
but
straighten
again,
you out.
five-
You will not catch me eating asparagus.
Okay.
That stuff's gross.
Oh, wait.
All right. Well, okay. Well, then again, I go back to my thing where you stop short 5 seconds, which lends validity to you being not the bluffer.
Wait, that means he's not. Wait. You went short. He's not the bluffer, Carlos?
I didn't use a double negative. It was very clear. It lends validity to Darren being not the bluffer.
How about that?
All of
Okay.
that to say he is not the bluffer.
It's literally, like, when you said it again, I was like, oh, I'm so dumb. I was.
I didn't use 2 negatives. I used 1 negative.
He is
If I
one
said he's
negative.
not the bluffer,
Yeah,
then that would
he's-
indicate he's the bluffer. I
there's
didn't
no
say that.
validity-
They call
Yeah,
that the
there's no
bluffing
validity.
bluff.
I didn't say he was not the bluffer.
All right then.
Like Gina's not confused.
Yeah.
See, then
I
thought
just
you
want
were
to make sure
confused.
everybody is on the same page, including me, and that nobody in the audience, especially me, is lost.
I don't know what page I'm on.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this. We're on the second page of round 2, and that means that we have to have another person go. And we just had Darren go. Adri, why don't we go to you? You finished your second round of the second story in 60 seconds.
Okay. So the school sets up a tryout for the students, but they don't announce that Brandy's going to be the coach because they don't want like crazy amounts of people showing up. They just wanted people who actually like soccer to go. The people that show up, or the students that show up, are described as 20 misfits of all sizes. And from those 20, she ended up taking 15. The other 5 became like support staff, like water girl and equipment manager and stuff like that. They played their first game, and it went so terribly that it lasted 25 minutes because the refs canceled the game after the opponent scored 8 goals in 25 minutes. So that's pretty much the rule in high school sports, is like, if you're getting destroyed, they're going to call the game. The rest of the season was really bad. They lost the next 4 games, and then they little by little got better to the point where they could play a full game without getting canceled. And Chris is shaking his head, but I don't know why. It's a crazy story.
Well, I don't know if this story is true or not, but I'm going to go with Brandy's a bad coach. Okay, so
Oh, snap.
moving on. Chris, I would like to hear your story or your thoughts about Adri's story right there.
Well, I definitely have thoughts about Adri's story, but real quick, at the risk of getting negative points, if Carlos was a judge in a court, he would direct the jury to say, "Hey, this witness is wearing a very nice blouse today, therefore she must be telling the truth." What? Come on. Anyway, Adri is misguided, well-intentioned but misguided, trying to get us to believe that Walter Matthau somehow was played by Brandy Chastain, and the Bad News Bears became this high school team in somewhere outside of San Antonio.
Oh, I can see the casting now.
It gets better. It gets better. Give me some time.
So we have a whole nother round 3. Carlos,
Give me a third round.
Oh, are you jumping to me? Okay. Well,
wait, Darren, did you go yet?
Oh yeah, we should go to Darren first,
Darren.
and then we'll go to Judge Carlos.
negative 2 points, Gina. Negative 2
Oh.
points.
Fucking A.
Agreed.
For Darren, right?
No,
Yeah.
for you.
Damn it.
I hope you're keeping track.
I am. I have -8. You have -4. Carlos has -2.
Oh,
I have 0 so far,
Yeah. And and Chris has a red card and Adri has a yellow card.
That's right.
and I think I have a red card.
Do you
I have a
throw one
dance
on my
card.
I'm with Chris, except Adri is too young to have watched the Bad News Bears, and I'm like, this is more like
Yeah.
she found the rejected first draft of Ted Lasso season 1. And that's her story.
Oh, that's funny though. Okay.
Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
they were all professionals, though. They just were bad professionals.
It was a bad first draft, okay?
Carlos. We need you.
Okay, a couple of things here. I don't know where to begin. Let's begin with Chris. -2 points for presuming to know how a judge should think and how a judge should act. That's -2 for you. Darren or Adri, either one or the other. The players on Ted Lasso are fine. They were just not coached to the best of their ability, but they were good athletes. The only people that weren't good in that first season were the coaches themselves. So a little bit off on that. And as far as your continued story, Adri, it is sounding more and more like you're creating an underdog story where they lose and lose and lose, but then they're going to win near the end, and then they're going to have some triumphant victory, or at least win more than they should. Oh, and also, Darren, Adri may have not seen the original Bad News Bears, but surely she knows of the reboot with what's-his-face.
Oh,
the guy
that one
carries
that everybody's
a vial
seen.
of blood around his neck from
Billy Bob
Armageddon.
Thornton.
That guy.
Billy Bob
Billy
Thornton.
Bob. Yeah, the Billy
yeah.
Bob reboot.
I like how you know him by the blood.
So, well, it's the most famous thing he's known for.
You know, the
so
blood
saith
guy.
the judge.
All right.
Scout's Honor.
Amen.
I've never
There it
seen any of those movies.
Uh-huh, right.
Adri, -10.
Oh,
Oh man, you are in for it, Marathon. All right, so that means that we have one more person to go in this round 2, and Chris, I believe that is you. So let us swing on
Yes.
over to Chris. You tell us your story in 60 seconds.
All right. So, Tabasco sauce has been manufactured continuously by the McElhenney family of Avery, Louisiana, since Edmund McElhenney started selling it in 1869. And it was long ago settled by the courts that only the McElhenney brew may be labeled Tabasco sauce. Colonel White's great-great-grandson, also named Mounsell White, puts forth his family's claim that in 1859, 10 years before McElhenney started Tabasco Sauce Company, Colonel White gave some chilies and his sauce recipe to a friend, Edmund McElhenney, the founder of McElhenney Tabasco Company, who promptly planted those seeds in his own plantation on Avery Island. It is not known if they used the same pepper. The term Tabasco was being widely used for even non-peppers at that time. But in any event, White's sauce was boiled rather than being fermented, as McElhenney sauce has been from the outside. The McElhenney Company to this day disputes any notion that someone else invented their Tabasco sauce. More on that in round 3.
Whoa. I'm floored because we're only in round 2 and I know so much. Okay, so the Tabasco is a pepper?
Yes.
But this guy is claiming that this is his pepper. Okay. Adri, your thoughts, please.
This sounds like Chris took a note from the Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg feud. Oh, I created Twitter. You created Threads. I didn't create Threads. You created Twitter. Feud that they have going on right now. I don't know. I'm smelling some bluffing over there on the Chris B side of things.
Well,
Wow.
later we're going to have to see if Edmund or Monsell wins out. I don't know. This is crazy.
Yikes.
Darren, thoughts on Chris's story here?
I'm starting to think that Chris had lunch at Chili's and there's like a bottle of Tabasco on the table. And there's like the little story on the back of the label.
Oh, look, he didn't
He's
have.
He's like, crap, I haven't written a story for tonight.
No, he lost his cell signal. He had bad cell. Yeah, so you got to find something to read
Very,
while you're
very
eating.
believable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And knowing Chris, he didn't have his glasses, so he had to, it's like,
Yeah.
But I will say the Chipotle version of Tabasco is all right.
the Chipotle version. Chris, I like the smack my ass and call me Sally one from Tijuana Flats.
That is also good.
A
Yeah,
regional
those-
chain.
Carlos, your thoughts on that? It's what it's called, Carlos. Do they not have those up there?
They don't.
The what?
The Tijuana
Tabasco
Flats.
Flats?
Tijuana Flats.
Tijuana Flats? No.
Yeah. They
No,
have
they
like a
don't.
whole counter full of all kinds of sauces, and they're all dirty names. Not all, but some of them are
They're suggestive sauces.
suggestive.
They're
That's a good way to put it. This is a funny campaign. Okay, Carlos. Careless. Why do you look so mad?
This is a judge face.
Because he doesn't have
wondering
Tijuana
how much
flats.
time you're going to take to advertise a company that does not give us money to advertise it.
We're only
Yeah.
39 minutes in, so we've got.
Resting bitch face.
Chris, your story, even though it may possibly be from the back of a Tabasco bottle at a Chili's to go at whatever airport you're at, does seem to be the most valid of the three right now. So I'll give you that. And we'll see what happens in round 3. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay, so we shall see. And Adam, you know what that leads us to, because the round tracker is full. So we are moving in to round 3.
Let's do it!
Okay, this is the round where the points are double and the time has reduced to 45 seconds.
Woo.
So that means they've got to get us their story and the last of their story as quickly as they can. And actually, I'm going to go to Adri to finish her story about football for us. Is at the boom for 45 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, here it comes.
Got a lot to cover. So,
Okay.
Season 1, they did terrible. Didn't win a single game. Season 2, they did slightly better, but still really sucky. Season 3, Brandy gets offered a different job at a different school that they were going to pay her better. She turned it down to see them, do their thing one more year. They did way better. They made it to the championship, but they lost. They did not win. So you guys did not know how it goes. And when the United States was playing the other day, she was commentating. They asked her about her 3 seasons at Alma High. She said, when I look back on those chapters of my life, I can't help but think that both shine a light on the best parts of being an American and representing our country. It's opportunity to inspire, to teach, to be great. And we showed it in 91 and 94, and Alma showed it those years that I was there. I had to paraphrase a lot.
Because she is a cool, kick-ass woman that doesn't have
She
a movie
is.
made about her.
She's
Okay.
incredible. I'd also like to throw out that I worked at Tijuana Flats for like 5 years. So can I have some points for that?
Oh.
Yeah,
Carlos,
I'll give you a point.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
you get 1 point.
Okay.
You
I'll
blow a
take away
card.
a point from whoever decided they could get points. And no, you can't have a point for advertising a non-advertiser.
Oh.
Ooh.
It's
I would have
delicious.
given it to you, Adri, just so you know. But
Thank you.
RDF
Thank you.
over here is not saying. Okay. So now we move on to the second round of round 3, which means that we're going to actually go to Chris for his story to hear his second part of his story.
All right. Did we go around to the let's see, we got some click in there. I think we might have some tech fuzz here.
All right. I love
yep.
tech fuzz. And it comes from your belly button, right?
I think it's coming. Yes, it's coming from the belly button, known as Chicago. So that's okay. All right, so we're done. We're done with the analysis of Adri's round.
Yes, in the belly
Okay.
button of America is,
And the belly
Chicago.
button. That sounds like a Chevy commercial, sort of. Okay, who's up next, Gina?
Oh, well, actually, that means that we are going to go right now to Chris Berry for his story. And his
man,
story
let's
was
do
about
it.
Tabasco. So let's finish it off.
There we go.
Okay. So, the McElhenney family for years disputed that Edmund McElhenney even knew Colonel White. Forget about got information from him. But in 2004, the company historian for Tabasco sauce did acknowledge that Daniel Avery, the father-in-law of Edmund McElhenney, was bound to have known Colonel Monsell White because they were friends, and he knew of his efforts to promote the use of Tabasco peppers for therapeutic purposes among people on his plantation, and he was giving it out around the county. So he said, one might be tempted to infer that through the Avery-White relationship, Edmund McElhenney somehow obtained his peppers from White. Although I believe this is possible, I do not know if it is probable. That is the biggest concession that they've ever come from McElhenney Company, and they make more than $60 million a year today from this recipe that they got from someone else.
Oh, so they're playing with somebody else's money, sort of, in a way. So I don't know. Darren, please, what do you think about that one? I'd like to hear your input.
I think that Colonel White did it in the library with the rope.
Yes.
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 So it was his recipe then.
I don't know. I have not heard the story of the dispute over the recipe of Tabasco sauce. But I mean, with like anything that's 150 years old, it's not too hard to imagine that somebody just wrote it down on a piece of paper and they're like, "Hey, you want to see my recipe?" It's. I find Chris's story actually to be plausible.
Oh, you do find it to be plausible.
I
So
do.
we're going to come and vote. And anybody in the audience, please comment on the site if you have a vote. But we're going to come and vote in just a little bit. And then I just think that, Adri, did you already talk about Chris's last round of his story?
I haven't, but all I want to say is I too agree that it's plausible, but possibly too plausible. Like it's fitting too much of the narrative of, American person or white person steals, recipe or object and makes millions of dollars on it. We've heard that so many times throughout history. So that's a red flag. It is plausible. I'm waiting to hear the rest of Darren's before I make a final decision.
Oh, okay. So lady
too.
reserve right. Carlos, your thoughts?
Again, Chris's story continues to sound the most legit. Although McElhenney is a very fun name. Maybe he's trying to distract us with a silly, fun name from the empty void that might be his story. I'm starting to think that Chris's story is too believable to be believable, if you know what I mean. So now I'm starting to be a little skeptical. So Chris's effort may have had the opposite effect. We shall see.
We shall see. The only thing that I saw that was wrong with Chris's story is that when he said the McElhenney, I tried to spell that so I could see it on paper, and I just can't. So that's what makes me think this story is not true. It's as simple as that, folks.
Limitations.
Exactly.
Can't spell it. Can't be true.
You can't spell it. It can't be true. So we have one more round of the last round of our show, and that honor goes to Darren. And Darren, we'd love you to take us home with your story in 45 seconds at the buzzer.
Right.
Boom.
When the Cavett Show returned from commercial and the next guest came out, Rodale was heard to be snoring, and Cavett apparently said, "Are we boring you, Jerome?" And then he realized that Rodale wasn't snoring, he was dying. They quickly stopped taping, and Cavett asked if there was a doctor in the audience, and there were 2 doctors in the audience, but they failed to revive Rodale, who had just suffered a fatal heart attack. He was pronounced dead on set, and they aired a rerun that night. The next night, Cavett described Rodale's death in his opening segment, and he described it so well that to this day, people have told him that they remember seeing Rodale die on TV, even though the episode never aired. To which Cavett has always replied, "You'd think if they remembered a guy dying, they'd remember the asparagus."
Wow.
Well, I just feel like we finally got the answer. When you drink your own pee, you die. Don't do it.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Man, it correlates. Chris, your thoughts, please.
Wow, that's a pretty dramatic thing to have happen on the air, or not on the air, but on tape.
On tape.
Live in front of an audience. And I presume the Cavett Show was live in front of an audience.
It was.
So I'm surprised that we don't hear more about, from audience members that were there, the horrific event that I went to and watched this, poor man die on the set. They try to revive him. I'm very skeptical. I need to do a little thinking here between these 2 stories. Figure out which one I believe is the bluff.
I know all the stories are really intricate tonight, so I don't know. Adri?
Well, I think it's really just a bombshell, really, that he fell down a flight of stairs and had enough strength to laugh the whole way down, and yet dies of basically boredom on this show the very next day. So as thrilling as that whole episode was, I think I know who my bluff is, who I'm voting for bluff, for sure.
Accusation made, Carlos.
Accusation made.
You crushing our head?
Oh, he might be. All are crushed in the presence of Carlos.
Hello. It's interesting that someone could have fake died on a fake show. Once again, is the Dick Cavett Show even a real thing? So what are we even talking about at this point?
Yeah.
And if it was real, don't you think we would have seen, like someone said it, don't you think we would have known, heard? Do you remember that time when that guy died on that talk show that was supposedly famous? No one's heard of this.
Urine asparagus?
Because not only did the urine asparagus not happen, not only did this person not die in this show wasn't even real.
Yep.
However, if they did use the real
Possibly.
Tupperware, it was the 70s, did it make that little burp? Or that's my only question for your story, Darren. I know that I should be focusing on other things, but I'm not. So I'm going to go real quick, just from top to bottom. Chris, who do you think is the bluff?
Despite the gaping holes in the logic of some of Darren's story, I look at Adri's story and I think to myself, Brandy Chastain, awesome. Goldie Hawn, awesome. Taylor O'Neill, who played in Bad News Bears, awesome. But the blatant attempt to rewrite the Bad News Bears as a soccer story starring Brandy Chastain, I don't buy it. I think Adri's bluff.
Wow.
Okay, so we have one accusation for Adri. Thanks for keeping that short. And then we go to Darren now. Darren. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We go to Adri now. Adri, your thoughts. What do you think? I kind of think I know who you already said, but let's just say it out loud for something.
Yeah. So I'm going to make it real clear. It's Darren who's the bluff. And also, in my defense, I know I usually come with stories about murder or terribly tragic things, and now I come with a fluff story, and I'm the bluff. It's crazy.
Bluff equals bluff. I mean,
it's not fair. It's not
That's what you
fair.
get for deviating.
yeah.
I got to stick to my routine.
Yeah.
Murder and
All right.
drugs.
Murder and drugs. I like the way you think. Okay, Darren, your thoughts, please, on who you think is the bluff for this
I'm
show.
going to have to agree with Chris that Adri is the bluff, simply from the fact that in this story, the formula of it, the coach is an alcoholic. And there was no evidence that she was an alcoholic.
He doesn't like the screenplay.
It can't be.
That is true. There's Tom Hanks cried in his baseball.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So we have 2 votes for Adri, 1 vote for Darren, and we lost our judge. He will be back any moment now, and I would like to hear his opinion. If you would like to hear my opinion, I am voting for Chris, just on the sheer fact that I can't spell the name of the main guy in his story.
Oh, that works. That works.
Yeah, I know. What are you going to do? Adam, you're the only one who knows, and I would love to get Carlos's last little bit of input, but if he doesn't come back in the next couple of minutes, I think we should reveal who it is. Do we have any comments from the studio audience? I do not see.
We have no comments from the studio audience. For those watching live, every week we do this live, and you can chime in and let us know through the YouTube comments, Twitch comments, Facebook comments, whatever you're watching us on. The platform lets you make an accusation as well before we reveal. And we have from Carlos. Even though you can't get away with saying, even though you can get away with saying anything happened on the Dick Caveat show, I think it's Chris. Okay, there we go.
Good.
But then he also said Darren lies.
That's Charles.
That's Charles.
So we have another vote for
Charles.
Chris and another
Come on, man.
So wait.
Scotch Clean. Clean? What's
No,
his name?
I said Adri.
That's
Okay,
right.
So
And
we have
Darren
2
said
votes for
Adri.
2 votes for Darren and two votes for Chris. Technically,
1
if
vote
we're
for Chris.
going without the whole audience.
you and Carlos.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
So, by the way, you 2 don't get points. You don't get votes either. So
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
man.
Carlos and I do
2,
not
2, and
vote.
2.
So technically, you don't have any votes, Chris. But
2, 2, and 2.
We'll have to do a rules check later with the with our shareholders. Sure.
Yeah, but what I'm
We'll
going
go
to
with
do now is
Yeah,
Let's find out.
Is there a
Yeah.
quorum?
In the meantime, I alone know the truth. So Gina, I'm going to ask you to step off of our virtual stage, and we're going to get our potential bluffs lined up. And I'm going to reveal now: was your bluff Chris? Was your bluff Adri? Or was your bluff Darren? Get ready for the big reveal. The bluff for this episode has been Adri.
Knew it.
Yep. It was a good narrative. I guess you got to stick to your murder drug stories.
I do. You're not wrong.
Yep.
You're not wrong, as
I
Carlos
wanted
would
to
say.
make the movie about that. Man,
I told you
There's
Still
that.
time. There's still time. Let's do it.
Yeah, maybe not.
Adri, if you had said that Brandy Chastain had murdered someone and then coached, that would be more plausible.
That was
true.
it.
Yep. That's
So
all
guys-
that's missing.
and then did
It's
drugs.
It's true. Jerome Rodale, the father of organic gardening, died minutes after saying he was going to live to be 100
That's
while
ridiculous.
taping the Dick Cavett show.
Oh, geez. Wow, that's crazy.
I think
That's
that's
crazy.
hilarious, and I would like to see. They have tape of that somewhere.
They
Yeah.
say they never released it because it never aired, but yeah, it was taped. His death was taped.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adri,
Got Carlos
Carlos
commenting. Go ahead.
Adri used her elevator pitch for a Netflix series as her bluff. I mean, she
That's
did,
what I
and
said.
it worked really
And
well.
now it's out there. Now it's out
Yeah.
there for anyone to see and steal.
Copywritten.
Say
Yeah.
copyright, yeah.
Wait a minute. Are you line busting? Because the writers are not doing their thing right now. This is
Yeah, fair. That is true. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to a wonderful episode of History Bluffs. And Adam, I would like for you to take us away. And good night, everybody. We'll see you next week at Wednesday
All
at
right.
7. We're on your Twitch or YouTube where you might get it.
You got it. You heard her. This has been History Bluffs. Don't forget to tune in next week. We'll see you then. You can learn stuff and hang out with us. It'll be a good time. We'll see you then.